What's going on, guys? It's Zoe Notice off DFS here to bring you the long-awaited WNBA tips and tricks video for building your WNBA lineups on DraftKings and Fanduel. I'm sorry it took me a minute to get it out, but here we go. If you guys are new here and you're enjoying the content, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the stuff that I'm putting out on the channel. We'll have more sports and things to cover as more things come out with college football, NFL, and NBA soon to begin later on in the year. And if you're enjoying the content and it helps you in any way, shape, or form, helps you win some money or something like that, revamps your process, make sure you drop a like. Let me know that you guys are enjoying the content. Looking at it, I will have the WNBA slate breakdown for the 2-game slate tomorrow. That will be up first thing in the morning. 2 games, Minnesota Lynx and the Dream and the Sun and the Phoenix Mercury. That will be out. So don't worry, I will still be doing that. But this is just for those people who want to understand how to build a better lineup for your WNBA DFS. So I'm going to do my best to explain to you guys what I look for, what I do whenever I'm building my lines, and how it is that I've been able to actually win a Queen of the Court ticket, to be in this big contest that I normally never try to go for tickets for, and I finally decided to, and I won. First time actually doing it, and I won. So hopefully I can share some knowledge in regards to some of the stuff that I've learned over the past 5+ years of watching WNBA and covering it, and hopefully I can rub off and help and maybe propel the sport into getting better contests and things like that for it. One of the first things that I want to go over, and just, if you guys don't have a basic understanding, there's tons of videos out there for basic understandings of DFS and WNBA, NBA, all that stuff. I would definitely suggest you look at that, especially contest selection and things like that first before watching something like this, because you got to have a basic understanding of that stuff first before you even do this. Next, coming into this, understanding your site. I play a lot on DraftKings just because the contest size are much bigger than what FanDuel offers. I've just started playing more on FanDuel again just because pretty much easy money, been cashing out weekly over there on DraftKings. On FanDuel, so why not go ahead and play over there, double dip, make some money, right? Looking at it, you got to understand your sites whenever you're looking at it. There are differences between DraftKings and FanDuel for NBA period. The same thing applies for WNBA. The 3-point shot, you get the extra 0.5 on DraftKings. Rebounds are 1.25 versus 1.2 on FanDuel. For steals and blocks, it's 3 plus 2 over here on DraftKings, and on FanDuel it is +3. And then the turnovers are only -0.5 on DraftKings versus FanDuel, where it's -1. And then you get a double-double and triple-double bonus just like you do for the NBA over here on DraftKings. Next thing to understand, especially with the WNBA period, is that on DraftKings you got 6 slots, FanDuel you got 7. FanDuel, they have 3 guards, 4 forwards. DraftKings is 2 guards, 3 forwards, and 1 util spot, so you can get a guard and a forward position. So basic understanding. Now, unlike the NBA, unfortunately, the women, they're broken down into guards and forwards. This, I cannot harp how important that is when it comes down to building your lineups and understanding where they play. When I say that, is understanding their positions. That to me is probably the key when it comes down to building your WNBA lines, because I'll use this as an example straight up right here on the slate for tomorrow. When you look at lineups, a lot of the sites, and it really sucks. This is one of those things that I kind of wish can change, is that not all these women are technically guards. They're not all just forwards and things like that. They do play the positions just like in the NBA, where you got the point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and the center position. It's the exact same thing over here on for the WNBA. The reason why this is important to me is because some of the players are listed as guards, they're actually forwards. They play the forward position, they play a small forward, they play the power forward position. So whenever you're looking at sites like DraftKings, FanDuel, whatever, the DVP metric that is showing you is for that position, the point guard, shooting guard, things like that, or what they're giving up against guards. A player like Ryan Howard, she plays the small forward position. Yes, she can play some of that 2 guard. Yes, she can probably, be as the main ball handler as the point guard, but that's not her primary role. She is a small forward. That is the position that she actually plays. She matches up against most other teams' threes. Kalia Copper, she's a prime example of that too. She's listed as a point guard, shooting guard, but she is a small forward. That's the position that she plays. She's played that for quite some time since she came in the league. Another one, DeWanna Bonner. For years, she has been listed as a point guard, shooting guard. She is not. She plays the small forward, power forward position. She is tall, she is lanky, and I know you might want to think she's a guard, but she is a small forward, power forward. So that's one of the biggest things to understand, is knowing the position that they play. Fee, she is not a center. She plays the power forward position. Sometimes she might slide up and play the small forward, and if she has to, she can play the center, but she is not a center. She is a power forward. Dorka is the center. So things of just understanding where they play at is a huge thing, because I feel like a lot of the optimizers and stuff that we have out here in this world, they're not up to speed in regards to the position that these women are playing. Oh, they're guards. Oh, they're forwards. No, that is not the case. Having that true understanding of where they play, it goes a long way whenever you're looking at the matchups and knowing who's actually in a good spot versus who's in a bad spot. So where you're actually picking who you want to play on your lines. Looking at it right here, whenever it comes down to it, one of the first things that you should always do whenever you're building your DFS lines, look at the injury news. Okay, boom. Injury breakdown, which is what I always do whenever I start out the breakdowns, is I go over to see, okay, who's out, who's in, who's going to get a boost, who's going to slide into the starting lineup, who's going to be the value play that I want to lock into for the slate. That is very much key. The value. That is why looking at the injury news and stuff is so important. And we do that for all sports. But kind of like the NBA, you kind of want to be glued to your screen, especially up before lock, just like that, because sometimes we can get late breaking news where, like, say Tiffany Mitchell, she's going to be out for 3 weeks. That dropped in the middle of the day, the day before, well, the day of the Lynx having a game. So we got to see Lindsay Allen. She's thrusted into the starting lineup. We already seen Lindsay Allen was playing very good before that, and now I'm going to get a 4K Lindsay Allen that's going to be starting, and she was in a great matchup in that game. So boom, I'm going to want to lock that in as my value play. Just like whenever it comes to the NBA, don't get cute. Don't get crazy. If a player is going to be a value play, typically, especially in cash games, I'm going to want to go ahead and play that. I'm not going to want to beat around the bush. I'm not going to want to try to get cute. Oh, she's not going to do this. No, we're going to look at it. We can assess it. Boom, easy day. I'm going to play that. Just like with the Indiana Fever the other day when Victoria Vivens was thrust into the starting lineup, and I forgot who else was thrust into it. Victoria Vivens was a good play to slide in there. Now, because Vivian's was thrust into the starting lineup, that also meant that looking at the bench, who's going to get her bench minutes? Because Vivian was already playing 15 to 20-ish minutes. Grace Berger, her sitting there in that 3-8 range, that made her a great play that we want to go ahead and look at. And possibly that's when you can get cute. Knowing who's going to slide in and get the boost in these spots in this position, that'll help you a ton whenever it comes down to building lineups. And I say don't get cute because if I got Alyssa Thomas on the slate, and if she's priced in a reasonable range, so they got her priced at what, 11K, she's not at that 13K range, a decent matchup going up against the Phoenix Mercury, I'm going to go ahead and lock her in as one of my forwards I'm going to want to play, because now I have my value play on the slate and a Lindsay Allen who is at 4K. So stuff like that is what you want to look at in order to build your line and truly understand. So that's why injury news, knowing the lineups and where these players play at is a huge thing, because if you know where they play at, then you can actually pay attention to the DVP metrics and understand who has the better matchup and who is in a plus position. The slate that I won and took down almost everything, and if I would have played in the big $15 to win 5K up top, I would have took that down, because I played Atkins. No, I played Cloud, I played Sabrina Ionescu, and I played another guard that nobody was on. That slate, Sabrina and Cloud were both 10% owned, and I wanted them really badly because I was like, it's a plus matchup. Sabrina, this is going to be the Sabrina Ionescu game, just because she had the matchup at the 2 guard at that position to go off the 3-point shot. She was facing a team that was weak against three-point shooting, and I knew that she goes up there, she gets the rebounds, and she can also get a couple of assists because she shares that duty with Courtney Vandersloot. So things like that you want to look at and understand. Natasha Cloud, going up against the I want to say that was actually the slate that Natasha Cloud was going up against the New York Liberty. The New York Liberty are trash against opposing point guards. Cloud, the usage is there, the assists are there, and if Cloud gets a good scoring game, it was going to be a wrap, and that's exactly what she went out there and did. So just locking in on those. I knew that Lane Deladon, she was going to struggle. The matchup that she had going up against Brianna Stewart and Jonquil Jones down there, that was going to be a tough pill to swallow. Same thing for Shakira Austin. So those are 2 plays that I didn't want to look at, and that's where you got to look to see, okay, who's going to actually be able to produce for this team in this matchup. DVP. Boom. Understanding where they play, looking at the matchup, seeing who's going to benefit from those things. All that went a long way, and it helped me to just crush the slate, and probably one of my highest scoring totals on a slate that I ever did. So those are definitely things that you want to look at, understand, and know whenever it comes down to it. Last but not least, like I already said, looking at DVP, play the best players that you can, understanding the usage and the minutes, because just like in the NBA, minutes and usage, that's key. If you want to understand the minutes and usage, check over on the WNBA site. If you go over there and you pull up the site, looking over here, you can actually pull up for the usage rates for everybody for the season. Now, say a player's out like Shakira Austin and Elena Deladon. If I want to, I can come in here, I can look at the teams, and I can pull up the Washington Mystics. And now that is what's going to give me, over the last 5 games, I see that Brittany Sykes has had an increase going up to 27.2 of usage over the past 5 games. Now for the season, normally Elaine Deladon, she caps the usage right here, and then Brittany Sykes, she was only sitting at 21. But now with Shakira Austin and Elaine Deladon being out, I see that her usage has skyrocketed and jumped up. So now when I'm looking at a slate and I see EDD, she's out, Shakira Austin is out, maybe I want to try to fit Sykes into my lineup, especially if it's going to be a matchup that I know Sykes, who plays the small forward position and can handle the ball, play a little bit of that point guard spot. I know the assists will be there for her. Rebounding as well from the small forward position is there for her, and she's going to be the main scoring catalyst for them. I'm going to probably want to fit Sykes into my line. So understanding all that right there, it all goes hand in hand. Everything builds on one another. It's just like for the NBA. A player's out, I want to try to get that player. I want to look and see who's going to get the boost like that. The DVP, that matters. The biggest thing, like I said, and I will hammer this home, knowing the position that the players actually play is very big in the WNBA. Just understanding and knowing where they play. That is what helps a lot. Now, some other things that I focus on and pay attention to is my contest selection. That's what I said, having a true understanding of how to pick contests and understanding like cash games, GPP, all those things play a hand-in-hand factor whenever it comes down to, contest selection and stuff like that for it. Yes, this big 10K up top is very beautiful. It's big. But sometimes, some nights, I don't play it because I'm not a max enter person for some of these big slates. I will play the single entry stuff, the $33, $12, the $5, all those things. They seem small, but they build up. I've taken down first place, second place in those contests quite a bit throughout the season and won $200, $300 off of those things right there. That's huge versus me trying to play to win the 10K up top, where I might come in with that lineup that I score a 199, where someone who mass entered inside of this right here, they scored 230. But in my small single entry contest of that 33, that $12, that 199 that I scored, that took down first because I'm not going against a whole bunch of lineups in that. I'm going against just everyone's best line that they feel that they did, or more than likely they ran an optimizer. The optimizer gave them the wrong DVP for the position that those players are playing, and me with my knowledge that I got, I did better because I built a much better hand build line. Especially hand build lines, if you're hand building, definitely I would say that is more for those single entry contests. If you got a good optimizer or you can make your own projections. I make my projections, but I use those for the prize picks for picking out props, which does pretty well. That right there, that's when you're gonna want to use your projections and stuff like that. If you got an optimizer and you're gonna mass enter these contests, but definitely you're just throwing in a single bullet. Stick to those single entry contests and those maybe those 3 max contests, so the way you can single enter, build your lines, and build it out pretty well. I'm not gonna knock any optimizers, but definitely if you're using an optimizer, be careful what you're doing because again, it's not gonna pay attention to guards, forwards, and actual centers. A lot of the centers in the WNBA, they're not listed as centers, so we don't get the actual DVP metrics for them, accounted for DVP. There's only a handful of them, which really kind of sucks. Cheyenne Parker, it has her listed as small forward, power forward. She's a center. She plays the center position. That is actually what she plays. Dorka, like I said, she's the center. She's not a power forward. So things like that really kind of plays a factor whenever it comes down to projections and understanding the minutes and things like that for what players are going to play and so on and so forth. But really, that is all that I can give you guys. If you guys got any more questions and things like that, or if you want me to elaborate more on something like that, talk to me down in the comment section. If you want my player pool, my props, everything that I put out, my list, and all the content, it's not just me. I got plenty of goats that ride with me over here at the No Days Off crew. We got Whisper, who just completely swept the UFC this past week, and my boy BK, he legit swept the 3-point contest and the All-Star game for the WNBA, and he's going to ride the momentum coming into the second half of the season. If you want all of our stuff, check the link down in the description below. It's only $10, and I promise you make that back within your first week. It's your boy Zoe. Be on the lookout for the slate breakdown. I will have that out tomorrow morning, so you guys can go ahead and get all the nuggets that you need to prepare for the 2-game slate. With that being said, peace.